Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are doing great. Today we are going to be dispelling myths of the introvert versus truths. You've either clicked on this video because you're an introvert getting slightly annoyed at the different misconceptions about you, or perhaps you want to learn a little bit more about the introvert, so stay tuned for these myths and truths about the introvert. So, myth or truth? Introverts don't like people. And that, of course, is a myth, people, and I'm about to explain why. Let's make one thing clear here that we can all agree on, I guess, that introverts do enjoy their solitude. They do enjoy time away from people. But this does not mean that they don't like people. In fact, introverts value people from a different perspective than perhaps an extrovert. They don't necessarily need time to socialize with a large gathering, but they do enjoy being in the presence of selected people. Many introverts do actually value people so much that they end up becoming incredibly socially selective and want to enjoy people for who they are at their core. This doesn't mean that they like everyone they come across, of course, and they're not probably going to enjoy being in large crowds where they get to express themselves to everyone and have a big parade. Myth or truth? Introverts gain their energy from alone time. That, of course, is a truth. It is a fact. It is 100% true for me as an introvert. While extroverts gain a lot of energy from being in social situations and feeding off the energy of other people, introverts are the exact opposite. Introverts like solitude. They like to spend time alone and the peace and the quiet, most likely, to recharge the batteries so that they can later go out there again and face the world and be in social situations with conviction and confidence. Some introverts, as I said, do like the quietness and the serenity, and others may enjoy things like extreme sports, for an extreme example. Either way, the introvert gains a lot of the energy from having their alone time, being by themselves, getting to concentrate on the things that heal them and make them happy. A lot of them do tend to be incredibly independent and fall into lines of work that require that independence and the autonomy over what they're doing. I, for one, do rather enjoy having independent work and not really working so much in a team, although I can do that and I do work well in a team in certain areas, but I do prefer that autonomy and that independence over my work. I especially don't like being micromanaged. Let's just make that thing clear. Myth or truth? Introverts are depressed. And that, of course, is a big old myth. Well, obviously, some introverts are going to suffer from depression, and one of the signs of depression is withdrawing from your everyday activities or your social groups. But the whole difference here is that you're doing something different from what you were doing before when you didn't have said depression. Now, with the introverts, introversion is certainly not synonymous with depression or any other kind of mental illness. As an introvert and as an INFP and also someone with ADHD, when it comes to interacting with others, especially online, I can go for large periods of not communicating with people. And people may perceive this as something is automatically wrong. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to interact with people. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to constantly be engaging and need to take the time to focus on aspects of solitude to regain my batteries, to make me feel happy. A good way to tell that an introvert in your life is depressed is to notice the things that they are doing differently. But certainly a lack of social interaction is not a sign that a person is depressed if they happen to be an introvert. Or rather, it is not a sign that introversion is synonymous with depression. Myth or truth? Introverts are socially selective. Well, I guess I kind of cleared this one from the first point, but that, of course, is a truth. Introverts are not the kinds of people to be part of a large crowd. They don't enjoy social interaction with a whole bunch of different people whom may vary from acquaintances to very good friends. They prefer to have one-on-one contact or to be in a small group. One of my favorite pastimes is sitting around a campfire with a couple I repeat, a couple of very close friends with a guitar and a couple of drinks and have a nice old jam. You'll find that the introvert enjoys doing something quite specific with these people of interest. They value these people for certain different aspects, and they really enjoy really honing in on what makes this person special to them. It's just a lot easier for that introvert to navigate their way through social situations where there is a lot less people and a lot less bouncing off the room off of different kinds of energies that can become quite overwhelming and draining for that introvert. Myth or truth? Introverts are shy and quiet. That, of course, is a myth. Shyness has nothing to do with introversion. Anyone can be shy. An introvert can be incredibly confident. An introvert can face social situations with such conviction that you may not even know they're an introvert. It all really comes down to personality and the kind of attachment that this introvert has had, especially in early childhood. Not every introvert is a highly sensitive person. As for me, I'm a highly sensitive person and can certainly come across as shy and can feel shy in a lot of social situations. But an introvert has the absolute potential to be as much of a leader as an extrovert is. An introvert can face situations head on, exuding so much confidence and ability and stamina. A good example of this is quite possibly Johnny Depp. When it comes to interviews, he seems really awkward and you just think, like, is this dude shy or what? However, when it comes to his acting, oh my gosh, he's just like, they're like two different people, which of course is, I guess, the point. An introvert as well doesn't have to be quiet. Although I'm quiet, not every introvert is. But you know what? I'm not always quiet. When I start talking about a topic that I'm really interested in, oh my gosh, can I get loud? I can get really rolled up and really passionate and just want to express myself, and that can come across as very energetic. It all really comes down to context. What is this introvert interested in? What do they do? What is their life path? And then once you actually take a look at what that introvert likes, you might find that they can be quite expressive when it comes to the things that they love. They just don't really see any point in being incredibly loud and obnoxious in certain social situations or where they don't really want to express their energy. Myth or truth? Introversion is a personality trait. That, of course, is a truth. Introversion and extroversion uphold in many different personality theories. For example, the big 5 personalities. Introversion is categorized by a focus on internal feelings rather than external stimuli. While we're not all fully introverted or extroverted, we do all lie on a spectrum. Introverts tend to be more reserved. They tend to gain your energy more from being alone. They tend to be somewhat more quiet, even though I know that contradicts the last point, but I did explain where introverts tend to be possibly more loud versus where they're more quiet. Again, it comes back to social situations. They will say what they need to say versus talking for the sake of it. Whereas with the extroverts, it is pretty much the exact opposite. They gain the energy from being in social situations. They tend to bounce off the room and bounce off different energies, bounce off different people. These traits can be seen from early childhood. My son, for example, he is oh my gosh, the biggest extrovert I have ever seen in my life, I'm telling you. And these characteristics don't tend to change, or at least change very little when children enter adulthood. I have always been quiet. When I was a child, I used to sit down and amongst all my soft toys, and I think there was one point where my mum didn't even know where I was, and she asked the neighbour, "Where's my daughter gone? Have you seen her?" And this whole time I was sitting in amongst my toys, and she just had no idea where I was. This has not changed. Although I don't sit in amongst my soft toys nowadays, I am, of course, really quiet in social situations, and I won't express myself in an exuberant manner if I don't need to. I, of course, reserve that for very special occasions. Myth or truth? Introverts don't like to have fun. That is a myth. I love to have fun, and in fact, I get bored so easily. I am so prone to getting bored, in fact, that I'm just constantly on the go all the time. Like I've got this firecracker within me, and you can't tell. Like if you're anyone else in my social group, you can't tell that firecracker exists. but it does. I have to constantly be engaging in something in order to get that dopamine firing. And that probably obviously has a lot more to do with my ADHD than it does to have with my introversion. I'm a stay-at-home parent as well. I spend a lot of time in the house. I don't spend much time at all interacting with anyone socially, and that can get really tiring at times actually. I want to seek a sense of community. And I think this is, again, a big misconception. It goes back to that first point. Do introverts like people? Yeah, of course they do. Introverts like to have communication with people. They like to connect with people on a very personal level. And to miss that sense of connection does not do anything for me at all. I really enjoy having fun with people. I enjoy connecting with people. I enjoy being creative with people, despite this introversion that I have, despite the stereotype and the misconception of what being an introvert means. I need to have that sense of connection, the sense that I'm making a difference to something. There has to be a reason for me to connect with others. There has to be a reason behind me having fun. And once that reason has been met, if I am having fun and there is a reason for it, well then I'm a happy chap. While I like to play music and I like to play music with others, there are other introverts who like to do other things and perhaps more introverted things. For example, an introvert might like to play a video game, an introvert might like to hop on their motorcycle and travel all across the country. That could be incredibly fun for that introvert. But the idea that introverts are these really stiff, monotonous kinds of people, it can't be further from the truth. And in fact, introverts hold this mystery about them because deep down, most of them are incredibly interesting people with a lot to say. They just won't say it if there is no need to. They won't go into social situations, as I said, parading themselves around where there is no need to do that. They're going to reserve that for the people that they really care about. So count yourself incredibly lucky if you're a friend of an introvert. So that about wraps up this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you have any comments, please let me know. And for now, I hope you guys have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you're in the world. And I'll see you guys all again for the next video. Shoot, that was really drawn out. Bye-bye now.